At a meeting the following week, someone mentioned promotional gifts. Everyone liked his suggestion of a cultural gift. A singer with many middle aged fans was performing, a convenient coincidence, in a long running concert series. So Hyungchul got a block of tickets. He was praised by his boss. Perhaps it was a singer his boss liked. A survey showed that the concert tickets heightened the company's image, though this probably had nothing to do with the promotional gifts. His apartments in Songdo had almost all sold, whereas the occupancy rate of Kim's Yongin apartments stood at only 60%. So when Kim made the remark, Hyungchul just laughed it off, saying it was luck. But after a few more drinks, Kim commented that if Hyungchul used his clever brain somewhere else, he could have become the head prosecutor. Kim knew that Hyungchul had gone to a law college and had studied for the bar exam. He went on to comment that he didn't know what scheme Hyungchul had used to get promoted so quickly when he wasn't even a graduate of Yonsei University or Korea University, which produced the main power players in the company. In the end, Hyungchul poured away the liquor that Kim had put in his glass and left. The next morning, when his wife said she would visit their daughter, Jin, instead of going to Seoul Station, he'd planned to meet his parents himself. Father wanted to stop in at his younger son's, who had just moved to a new place. Hyungchul had meant to pick them up and drop them off at his brother's, but once he was at work, he felt a chill coming on and had a headache. Father did say that he could find his way. Instead of going to Seoul Station, Hyungchul went to a sauna near work. As he sweated in the sauna, which he often visited the day after he drank too much, Father was getting on the train without Mother. As a boy, Hyungchul made up his mind to become a prosecutor to get Mother to return home. She had left because she was disappointed by Father. One spring day, as flowers bloomed all around the village, Father had brought home a woman with fair skin who smelled fragrant, like face powder. When the woman came in through the front gate, Mother left through the back. The woman, trying to buy her way into Hyungchul's cold heart, topped his lunch every day with a fried egg. He would storm out of the house with his lunch container, which the woman had wrapped carefully in a scarf, and he'd leave it on top of the large condiment jars in the backyard and go to school. His siblings watching him always, if surreptitiously, took the lunches the women made. One misty morning, on the way to school, he gathered his siblings at the stream snaking by the cemetery. He dug a hole near a blooming weeping willow and made them bury their lunches. His brother tried to run away with his lunch, but Hyungchul caught him and hit him. His sisters obediently buried their lunches. He thought the woman could no longer be able to make them lunch. But the woman went to town and bought new containers. They weren't yellowish aluminum containers, but special ones that kept the rice warm. Awed, his siblings touched the new containers cautiously. When the women handed them their lunches, his brother and sisters looked at him. He would push his lunch towards the end of the porch and leave for school alone. His siblings would wait until he was out of sight, then go to school themselves, carrying their warm lunches in their hands. Perhaps having heard from someone that he wasn't taking the lunches made by the women and that he wasn't eating, either mother came to school to find him. It was about 10 days after the woman had come to live with them. Mother, tears spilled from his eyes. Mother led him to the hill behind the school. She pulled up the legs of his trousers to reveal his smooth calves, grabbed a shoot from a tree and hit them. Why aren't you eating? Did you think I would be happy if you didn't eat? Mother's thrashing was harsh. He had been upset that his siblings weren't listening to him, and now he couldn't understand why mother was whipping him. His heart brimmed with resentment. He didn't know why she was so angry. Are you going to take your lunch? Are you? No, you little. Mother's blows became swifter. He didn't admit they hurt, not once, and soon mother grew tired. Instead of running away, he stood still, silent, and suffered her blows. Even now, the redness bloomed into blood in his calves. Even now, he yelled. Finally, mother tossed the switch away. God, you brat, 경찰, she said, embracing him and bursting into sobs. Eventually, she stopped and tried to persuade him. He had to eat, she said. No matter who cooked the meals, she would be less sad if he ate well. Sadness. It was the first time he'd heard mother said the word sad. He didn't know why his eating probably would make mother less sad. Since mother had left because of that woman, it seemed to him that she would be sad if he ate the woman's food. But she told him the opposite was true. She would be less sad if he ate, even if it was that woman's food. No, he didn't understand it. But since he didn't want her to be sad, he said, grouchily, I'll eat it. That's my boy, mother's eyes, filled with tears, lit up along with her smile. Then promise you'll come home, he insisted. Mother faltered. I don't want to come home. Why? Why? I never want to see your father again. Tears ran down his cheeks. Mother acted as if she would really never come home. Maybe that was why she'd said he had to eat no matter who cooked the food. He got scared. Mother, I'll do everything. I'll work in the fields and the paddies and sweep the yard and bring the water. I'll grind the rice and make the fire. I'll chase the mice and I'll kill the chicken for the ancestral rites. Just come back. For ancestral rites or holidays, mother always begged father or any other male in the house to kill a chicken for her. Mother, who went into the fields after a heavy rain and propped up fallen beanstalks all day, who practically carried father on her back to bring him home when he was drunk, who beat the pigs behind with a stick when it escaped from the pen to usher it back inside, couldn't kill a chicken. When Hyungchul caught a fish from the stream, she wouldn't touch it until it was dead. When every student was instructed to bring in the tail of a mouse to show that everyone had captured a mouse at home on mouse catching days, other children's mothers caught a mouse and cut off the tail and wrapped it up in paper to take to school, but mother shrank away even from hearing about it. A mother of sturdy build, she couldn't bring herself to catch a mouse. If she went to the shed to get some rice and encountered a mouse, she would scream and run outside. Anne would glare disapprovingly and cluck at mother when she rushed out of shed red-faced. But even though he promised he would kill chickens and chase mice, mother didn't say she would come home. I'll become an important person, Hyungchul promised. What are you going to be? A prosecutor. Mother's eyes sparkled then. If you want to be a prosecutor, you had to study hard. A lot more than you think you do. I know someone who wanted to be a prosecutor and studied night and day and never made it and went crazy. I'll do it if you come home. Mother looked into his anxious eyes. She smiled. Yes, you can do it. You were able to say Ma before you were 100 days old. Even though no one taught you to read, you learned to read as soon as you went to school, and you are ranked first in your class. She sighed. Why would I leave the house when you're there? Why didn't I think of that? You were there. Mother stared at his calves, speckled with blood, then turned around and squatted, telling him to climb on her back. He looked at her. Mother turned her head. Get on, she said. Let's go home. That was how, in the afternoon, Mother came home that day. She shoved that woman out of the kitchen and cooked. And when the woman and father went to live in another house in town, Mother rolled up her sleeves, ran over to their house, grabbed the rice pot hanging over their hearth, and sent it rushing down the stream. It seemed as if Mother became a fighter so that she could keep the promise she had made to Hyungchul and return home. When father and the woman, unable to stand Mother's harassment, left the town together, Mother called Hyungchul to her and set him down before her, knee to knee. Calmly she asked him, who was once again frightened that she might live as well. How much studying did you do today? When he pulled out the test he had got a perfect score on, Mother's gloomy eyes regained their fire. She looked at the test on which his teacher had circled in red every correct answer and grabbed him in a hug. Oh, my baby. Mother pampered him while father was gone. She let him ride father's bicycle. She gave him father's sleeping mat and covered him with father's blanket. She scooped rice for him into the big rice bowl, which only father had used. She placed the first bowl of soup in front of him. When his siblings started to eat, she would scold, "Your brother hasn't even picked up his spoon." When the fruit vendor came by with a rubber bin filled with grapes, she traded a half bowl of sesame seeds drying in the yard for some grapes and saved them for him, telling the other children, "This here is for your brother." And every time she did that, mother reminded him, "You have to become a prosecutor." He thought he had to become a prosecutor to keep mother at home. That autumn, mother harvested rice and hulled it and dried it by herself without father. At dawn, she went to the fields and bent over, cut rice stalks with her scythe, stripped the grain, and spread it on the ground in the sun to dry. She came home when it got dark. When Hyungchul tried to help, mother said, You go and study," and pushed him towards his desk. On warm Sundays, after all rice was harvested, mother would take his siblings to the field in the hills to dig for sweet potatoes, but she would nudge him towards his desk. They would come back near dusk pushing a wheelbarrow filled with russet sweet potatoes. His brother, who had wanted to stay at home to study but had been forced to go with mother, hunched over well, scrubbing the dirt from under his fingernails. "Mother, is Hyungchul that important?" "Yes, he's that important." Mother rapped his brother on the head without giving the question a second thought. "Then you don't need us?" His brother's cheeks were flushed from the crisp air. "No, I don't need you." "Then we're going to live with father." "What?" Mother was about to give his brother another rap on the head, but stopped. "You're important too. You are all important. Come here, my important children." Everyone laughed. Sitting in the glow of the room in front of his desk, listening to his family at the well outside, Hyungchul smiled too. It's not clear exactly when, but mother stopped locking the gate at night. Soon after, when she scooped rice for everyone in the morning, she started to put some in father's rice bowl and leave it under a blanket in the warmest part of the room. Hyungchul studied even harder while father was gone. Mother continued to refuse to let him help in the fields. But when she was yelling at her other children that they had left the peppers spread out in the yard in the rain, she lowered her voice if she thought he was studying. In those days, mother's face was always crumpled with fatigue and worry, but when he studied by reading out loud, the flesh around her eyes became brighter, as if she had dabbed on powder. Mother opened and closed the door to his room quietly. She silently slid a plate of boiled sweet potatoes or persimmons into the room, then gently closed the door. One winter night, when the snow drifted onto the porch, father walked in the open gate, cleared his throat, took his shoes and smacked them against the wall to get the snow off, and opened the door. It was so cold that everyone was sleeping together. Through half-open eyes, Hyungchul watched father touch everyone's head and gaze down at them all. He saw Mother placing on the table the rice bowl she'd kept in the warmest part of the room, saw her bringing sheets of seaweed toasted with perilous oil and putting them next to the rice bowl, and watched as she placed a bowl of rice boiled water next to the rice bowl without a word, as if Father had left that morning and had come back at night, instead of having left in the summer and returned sheepishly in the bitter cold of winter. When Hyungchul graduated from college and passed the entrance exam for the company he works at now, Mother wasn't happy. She didn't even smile when the neighbors congratulated her on Hyungchul's employment at a top corporation. When he came home with the traditional gift of underwear bought with his first paycheck, she barely looked at it and coldly shot at him. "What about what you were going to be?" He replied simply that he would work hard at the company, save for a few years, and start studying again. Now he reflects on this. When she was younger, Mother was a presence that got him to continue building his resolve as a man, as a human being. It was when Mother brought his sister, who had just graduated from middle school, to the city to stay with him, that she started to tell him she was sorry all the time. She brought his sister from the country when he was 24. It was before he was able to save money, before he could take the bar exam again. She kept her eyes lowered. Since she's a girl, she has to get more schooling. Somehow you have to make it possible for her to go to school here. I can't have her live like me. They met in front of the clock tower at Seoul Station. Before she went home, she suggested a meal of rice and soup. Mother kept picking out of the beef in her soup and placing it on his bowl. Even though he said he couldn't eat it all and that she should eat some, Mother kept transferring the meat from her bowl to his. And although it had been her idea to eat, not a single morsel reached her lips. "Aren't you hungry?" he asked. "I'm eating, I am," she said, but kept plopping the meat into his bowl. "But you, what are you going to do?" Mother put down her spoon. "It's all my fault. I'm sorry, Hyungchul." As she stood in Seoul Station to board the train home, her rough hands with her short clipped nails buried deep in her pockets, Mother's eyes were ringed with tears. He thought then that her eyes looked like those of a cow, gulliness and kind. He calls his sister, who's still at Seoul Station. The day is fading. His sister stays silent when she hears his voice. It seems that she wants him to speak first. They listed everyone's mobile numbers on the flyer, but his sister got most of the calls. Most of them were false reports. One guy said, "The lady is with me right now." He even gave a detailed explanation of where he was. His sister rushed by taxi to the footbridge the caller directed her to and found a young, drunk, a man, not even a woman, snoring away. So elaborated that he wouldn't have noticed if someone had carried him away. She isn't here, he tells his sister. His sister releases the breath she was holding. Are you going to stay at the station? He asks. For a little while. I still have some flyers. I'll come to you. Let's get some dinner. I'm not hungry. Then I'll have a drink. A drink? She asks and falls silent for a moment. I got a phone call, she says, from a pharmacist at Sobu Pharmacy in front of Sobu Market in 욕천동. 욕천동. He said he'd seen a flyer his son had brought home. He thought he saw someone like Mother in 욕천동 2 days ago, but he said that she was wearing blue plastic sandals, that she must have walked so much that the top of her foot had a gash, and that it was infected all the way to her toenails, and that he put some medicine on it. Blue sandals? His mobile slides off his ear. Brother, he presses the phone back to his ear. I'm going to go over there. Do you want to come? 욕천동? He asks. Do you mean that Sobu Market we used to live near? Yes. Okay. He doesn't want to go home. He doesn't have anything particular to say when he meets his sister. When he called her, he was only thinking, I don't want to go home, but 욕천동? He raises his hand to flag down a taxi. He doesn't understand. Several people have called to say they saw someone like Mother wearing blue plastic sandals. Strangely, they all said they'd seen her in a neighborhood he's lived in. 개봉동, 대림동, 옥수동, near the Naksan apartments in 동성동, 수유동, 신길동, 정릉. If he went to see them, the callers would say they saw her 3 days ago or sometimes a week ago. Someone even said he'd seen her a month before he went missing. Every time he received a tip, he went to that neighborhood alone or with his siblings or with father. Even though they all said they'd seen her, he couldn't find anyone like Mother wearing blue plastic sandals. After hearing their stories, he could only post some flyers on the utility poles in the neighborhood, or on a tree in the park, or inside a telephone booth, just in case. When he passed the places he used to live, he would pause and peer in at these spaces where others were now living. No matter where he lived, Mother never came by herself to his house. A family member always went to greet Mother at Seoul Station or the express bus terminal. And once in Seoul, Mother didn't go anywhere until someone came to take her to her next destination. When she went to his brother's, he came to get her. When she went to his sister's, she came to get her. Nobody ever said it out loud, but at some moment, he and his family tacitly came to believe Mother couldn't go anywhere in this city by herself. So whenever Mother came to Seoul, someone was always with her. He realized after placing the newspaper ad for Mother and passing out flyers that he had lived in 12 different neighborhoods. Now he straightens and looks up. Yokcheon-dong, he remembers, was the first place where he was able to buy a house. It's full moon harvest in a few days. In the taxi heading for Yokcheon-dong, his sister nervously rubs her fingernails with her hand. He's thinking the same thing. He clears his throat and frowns. The full moon harvest holiday is several days long. The media are reporting that this year more people are going abroad during the holiday than ever before. Until a couple of years ago, people criticized those who went abroad during the holidays, but now people blatantly say, "Ancestors, I'll be back," and go to the airport. When people started to hold ancestral rites in timeshare vacation homes, they worried whether the ancestral spirits would be able to find them, but now people just hop on planes. This morning, his wife, who was reading the paper, said, as if it were news, "It says here that more than 1 million people will be going abroad this year." "People have a lot of money," he replied, at which she mumbled, "People who can't leave, well, they are not too smart." Father just watched them. His wife continued, "Since their friends go abroad during the full moon harvest, the kids were saying, 'I wish we could do that too,'" when he glared at his wife. Unable to listen to this any longer, she explained, "You know how kids are sensitive to that kind of thing?" Father got up from the table and went into his room. "Are you crazy? Is this something to talk about now?" he snapped, and his wife retorted, "Look, I said the kids said that. Did I say I wanted to? Can't I even relay what kids say? It's so frustrating. I'm supposed to live without saying anything." She got up and left the table. "Should we hold the ancestral rites?" Jihan asked. "Since when did you think about the ancestral rites? You never even came home for the holidays, and now you care about full moon harvest?" "I was wrong. I shouldn't have been that way." He watches his sister as the spots rubbing her fingernails and sticks her hands in her jacket pockets. She still hasn't got rid of that habit. When they lived together in Seoul, when he had to sleep in the same room as his brother and his sister took the place nearest the wall. He lay in the middle, and his brother lay near the other wall. Just about every night, he'd be smacked in the face and wake up to find his brother's hand draped across his face. He would take it off carefully and be able to fall asleep again when his sister's hand would be flung onto his chest. It was the way they used to sleep in the large room at home, rolling around as much as they pleased. One night, he let out a yell when he got punched in the eye. His siblings woke up. "Hey, you!" his sister, blatantly figuring out what had happened, hurriedly stuck her hands into the pockets of the cotton trousers she wore to bed and fidgeted nervously. "If you're going to keep this up, just go home." When morning came, his sister really went home to Mother, taking all of her things. Mother brought her back to Seoul right away, telling her to get on her knees before him and ask for his forgiveness. His sister obst- ob- obstinate didn't move. Ask him to forgive you, Mother said, but his sister didn't budge. His sister was gentle, but if she had her mind set on something, nobody could move her. Once, when he was in middle school, he forced his sister to wash his trainers against her will. Usually she obediently washed them clean, and that day she got upset and took them, his new but grubby trainers, so the stream and to the stream and sent them downstream. He ran all the way along the stream to retrieve his floating shoes. Later, it became a cherished memory that only siblings could share. But at that time, he came home angry with only one sneaker, which had turned green from the slimy water and clinging algae, and told on his sister. Even when Mother picked up the poker, asking where his sister had learned to be so ill-tempered, she wouldn't say she was sorry. Instead, she got angry at Mother. I said I didn't want to. I told him I didn't want to. And from now on, I'm not going to anything I don't want to.